This is Racing Live on TalkSport 2. Lee McKenzie and Colin Brown with you today. Well, in recent years, Leonna Mayor has become a familiar face in William Hill betting shops, first of all, as well as on ITV and Sky Sports Racing. And now she's become an ambassador for Racing to School. That is the project that takes kids to the racecourse to show them how what we do links up with the national curriculum. But Leona's also got a very interesting backstory, and she joins us now to share it with us. Hi, Leonna. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, that was a long list of things, wasn't it, that I'd done and do. I get where water wouldn't, by the sounds of things.
You've got a very impressive CV. Are you quite proud of that, how you've built that up over the years?
Yeah, I mean, of course I am. I've been very lucky. A lot of things have kind of been, I'm sure a lot of people think this, but, you know, you kind of meet the right people at the right time and opportunities come along, and I'm very grateful of them. You know, I have worked hard to get where I've got, but there's been plenty of nice people along the way and good opportunities that came up to kind of help me get there, really.
Because I've seen you saying in the past you weren't sort of born into an extremely rich family with a silver spoon in your mouth. Well, you've had to work hard to where you've got at the moment. It didn't come easily for you.
No, my family are just not. I mean, my father was a dairy farmer, so that makes it sound like I had the farm kind of growing up, which we didn't. I didn't meet my father till I was kind of 10. So for the first kind of 10 years, we were non-animal families, no horses, no kind of outdoorsy life really, but I always kind of loved horses, and then was kind of jackpot when I finally did meet my dad, and it was farm life, and I kind of had that then for a few years, which was very nice. But yeah, look, it took a long time really for me to kind of, I didn't start probably riding lessons till I was about that age, and then so happened to stumble upon a racehorse trainer, would you believe, at the end of the lane, because there wasn't any of this kind of racing to school, you know, and being shown things in school. I didn't know it existed. And happened to just meet a trainer who trained at the end of the lane where my dad's farm was, went in there, and literally the rest was history then. Yeah,
because if there had been racing to school in those days, you might well have been one of those school children who go to the races. We see them a lot, all dressed in the jockey outfits, being shown around the race course, and finding out how it links with the school curriculum. Is it exciting for you to be asked to be one of their ambassadors?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen them quite a few times at the races, and I've spoken with John Blake, who's the chief executive, a few times about different things, because it's one of those, obviously not only am I lucky enough to be able to work in racing, you know, I've already had quite a few roles within the industry, and a little while ago another company, Careers in Racing, asked me to kind of be the face and the kind of the presenter of their new video that will also get played in schools. And, you know, they were like, you're the perfect person to do it. A board voted you in. You've already had lots of jobs in racing and you kind of excelled at each one. And, you know, it's trying to show people that, you know, you don't just have to ride. You don't just have to, you know, muck out boxes. You know, whatever it is that you want to do where horses are concerned, you know, there's a reason why we have kind of riding for the disabled, there's therapy horses, because people take so much from it, you know, and it's really cheesy to say it's more than just a job, but it is. You know, they become your entire life. When before I started race riding, actually in races, and I was just kind of working in the yards and I was a stable lass, you know, you might, it's a lot better now, but at this time, we're talking 15 years ago, you might have got 1.5 days off every 2 weeks if you were lucky. You know, you worked one day you'd work 7 days, and the other weekend you'd have a Saturday afternoon and a Sunday off. And if one of my horses that I took care of was running on the Sunday, I would go racing. I wouldn't be bothered. You know, it's one of those that you don't care because it's so much more than a job, and it's trying to show enough people that, you know, because if I'd have thought in any way, shape or form at school there was a chance of me working with horses, I'd have probably backed up and left straight away. You know, I absolutely adored horses, and it was amazing for me that I got the opportunity, and it's amazing that people are going to get to see that long before I did.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to be able to fulfil your love of horses in a job, but to actually become a jockey as well. How did that happen? Were you astonished when somebody said one day you're going to ride my horse? How did that come about?
Yeah, well, to be honest, as I say, I worked for a small trainer in Audley in Staffordshire, where I'm from, called Brian Boss. He had very few horses, worked there for a couple of years. That's when I got the kind of bug for racing and wanted to gallop, and lost all interest in doing any other kind of job or career. And then I was there for a couple of years, kind of learnt the ropes, learned how to gallop, learned how to do all those things. And then it was actually another couple of years before I actually got a jockey licence, because you have to go to one of the licensed racing schools and get a jockey licence like you get a driving licence for a car. You have to pass tests and show that you're capable. Of course, it's very dangerous. And I didn't do that. I think I was 19 at the time, so it took a good few years, a bit of patience. But No, it was awesome. I had some really nice kind of trainers and owners behind me. I had a very good sponsor that helped me massively kind of at the start financially, and people, with diesel and things like that, because you really don't earn enough money at the bottom end of it when you first start. It's very hard, and if you haven't got any kind of backup from your family, and it was hard, but I got kind of a really good few people behind me. And started riding winners, and it's one of those, the harder you work, the more you put in, the more you get out of it, and it went very well, and I don't regret a day that I spent actually in racing in the yards or as a jockey, because, it's led me to where I am now, and every job I do, I really enjoy.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helped you greatly when you moved across into the glitzy world of television where you are now. You've actually been on the screen in William Hill betting shops for quite a while now, haven't you? So how did you make that move from jockey to the telly?
Yeah, 10 years. Well, what happened was a small, weird, funny story, really, that I was at Wolverhampton one night riding in probably the last race, 9 o'clock or something. There was another girl who used to ride called Kelly Harrison. She was there, and I said, what did you do today before you came here? She's like, I was in William Hill. And I was like, oh, so she explained that they have a TV studio, and you go in and you kind of a guest, and there'll be a presenter that asks you questions. What's this for? What's that for? Asked about the track and things like that. And she was like, you'd be really good at it. So she said, I'll put your name forward, it's not bad money, it's, you're not in the rain kind of thing. So, yeah, kind of went in. I'm sure every person at William Hill in the studio there would back up that I was terrible to start with, really, really terrible. I was so nervous, which was surprising because I'm very good at talking, but I just didn't seem to be very good at it in front of the camera, and kind of overthought everything. And you kind of do that thing where you think, if I say something wrong, and they're like, it's fine, it's live TV, just relax. But it took a long time, and they were so, so good with me. They persevered massively. They were like, you are good when you relax. If you just keep coming, it will get easier, it will get better. Which is why, really, for the first kind of, once I decided to stop race riding, which was kind of, I broke a few ankles and a wrist, and I kind of was coming out at the end of the year with, having not made a lot of money, and the risk at the time due to the reward was just not worth it. So I had enough, really. So I went and spoke to Hills and said, look, if I want a job, is there one there for me? And they were like, yeah, absolutely, we love you, we'll sort something out. And that was that, really. So I just kind of did a couple of days a week for them for a good few years, which was a very nice life, I have to say, considering how hard I'd been working in the years and the run up to it. And that's where I then kind of got relaxed, got in front of the telly, got my kind of own style, which is why then when Sky Sports Racing came around and ITV, I already knew that I could do it, so I wasn't anywhere near as nervous, bizarrely, for them as I was for Hills, because I already had it, and I thought I already know I can do it.
But to work for all to work for all three of those still as you do, and for Sky Sports Racing and ITV to come in as well. Clearly you improved a lot from the early days that you described there.
I needed to. I really needed to. Look, they're very good. And the other thing as well, with each, even still now, and I'm sure going forward, you learn something new every day. Each show, each job I have is a completely different role, really. Your target audience is different. Sky Sports Racing is a lot more kind of racing people, if that makes sense. You're a racing audience, whereas ITV could be someone who's watching the cooking channel and racing happens to come on after, and you want to try and keep them engaged and keep them watching and not switch over. So, they're kind of different audiences, and they probably want slightly different things from you, but it's just learning to adapt, really. And again, moving back to the racing to school, this is the same thing again, that it's completely different. And I feel like, to a point like this interview, it will take me back to the start and how I did get there, and how, I just hope so many other people get the chance to do it, because as I say, I didn't know racing even existed, until I met Brian Boff on the lane, and he was like, come and ride our horse instead of riding ponies, I think I was 13 or 14 at the time. And it's like, and then all of a sudden it's like this world that you never knew existed, because I think when I was at school, if I'd have turned around to the teacher and said I wanted to ride horses, they'd have probably laughed. It wasn't a thing, it's like, it's not a real job. It's like, actually, it is.
Yeah, that's the thing about, I remember that well from school, the list of careers that you were offered were not necessarily the ones that you really wanted to do.
You want to be a TV presenter and they just laugh in your face. It's like, don't be silly, You don't want to be a TV presenter if you're famous, or if your family's famous, or if it's like, it's not like that anymore. The programs that we have, and in racing is one of the best for it, They're literally they're putting themselves out there in every corner that there is to show people that we're there, Come and see for yourself. And if they do and they don't like it, that's fine. It's not for everyone.
No.
But I'm really excited. The racing to school thing really is it's something else. It's amazing. Like when you see them with the equitisers and you've got kind of crowds and crowds of children, you know, the kind of pretend horses that they sit on.
Oh, yeah,
crowds
yeah.
around children, they're watching, they want to go, and they get off, and someone else gets on, and you know, and the parents are there taking videos, which then they'll put on their social media, which other parents and other children will see. You know, it seems small, but it's not. It's a really, really big step forward. It really is.
And for some of them, of course, although it may be their first ever day at a racecourse, at the races, because they are actually allowed to stay on usually for a race or two at the start of the afternoon, aren't they, before they get taken back to do double history in the afternoon. And look at the very sad face of the kids as they get taken.
Yeah, they literally, they come and they crowd round the parade ring, they're watching all the horses. I mean, I spoke to them before I was actually an ambassador. I've spoken to a few children a time or two at these, you know, and they're really excited. They want to be there. You know, they're getting out of the kind of, in my opinion, because I never liked school anyway, you know, the monotonous classroom thing to real life, you know, and it's like you can do this for a job, whether it be, you know, it might not even get anything to do with the horses themselves. It might be on a race course. It might be keeping the ground. You know, we have groundskeepers and all those kind of things. There's so many jobs in racing, you know, and you always see them advertising for all these things. So I'm pretty sure racing as a whole, you know, in and out of the actual horse side of it is still pretty understaffed because it's people's lack of knowledge.
Well, enjoy your new role, Leonna, alongside all the other ones. Just before we end, one other thing I do know about you is because I follow you on social media. I've seen your pictures that you tweet from your holiday location on a lounger in the sun somewhere. Are you going to admit to us that you do like being abroad at certain times of the year, particularly when the weather over here is awful? It looks fantastic, some of the places you go to.
Oh, not certain times of the year, as much as I can times of the year. Yeah, look, I love a holiday, but a lot of the time as well when I go away, I do kind of work. I keep in touch with everything, and you know, I'm still kind of doing things behind the scenes, but I make time. I still keep up to date with all the jobs, which is the main thing. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I just wanted to say thanks very much for the time. Obviously, Racing to School are working very hard. I mean, I didn't realise how long they'd been going, so I must put that in there, that my lack of knowledge. John informed me that they've been doing it for 22 years, which I had no idea, but that's obviously because it was small. You know, it's a charity and they kind of need all the help they can get. But I think they're kind of, he was saying to me, their aim for next year is to actually get round to 17,000 young people. I think this year was 16,000 or the target. But they've got plenty of ambassadors. They're the right kind of people. You know, Holly Doyle, if you were a girl and you knew anything about horses, you want to be Holly Doyle. That's the kind of, you know, as a jockey. So great to have her on board. And you know, it's a great scheme. They're doing their best. We're trying to get more out there. You know, hopefully you'll see a fair bit more of me, and I'll help them as much as I can. But they're a great team, and you know they're doing their best. They're a pretty small charity, so getting them out there as much as we can and getting the support is important.
Looking forward to seeing you do your new job, Leonna, as well as all the other ones that you do too. And thanks for talking to us today. And do enjoy your next foreign holiday, whenever it may be. Thanks for talking.
I will do my very best. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Leonna. We are back with the next one from Newcastle coming up shortly. This is Racing Live on TalkSport 2.